Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Welcome into episode 115 of the Second and One podcast. Joining you today is myself, Shiz, Mr. Mo Snell, and pitch hitting for brother Tahime Green. We have returning guests all the way from Long Beach, California via internet. We have brother Christian Briscoe. Fellas, how y'all feeling this evening?
Feeling marvelous.
Listen, man,
Feeling marvelous.
It's starting to warm up. We're getting a little bit of sunlight, a little more sunlight. Things are almost back to normal.
Yeah, I've been doing calculation in my head, like, since we're past the solstice, whatever, however you say it, we get one extra minute per day. I'm like, yes, a little bit extra sunlight.
What's the temperature like, Ben? What's the
Listen, man,
we got a little heat wave going over here, man. We had a nice 50 degrees today. Like we
50's nice.
Yeah, we in good shape. I mean, I'm pretty sure old man Winter he's gonna hit us before he goes out. But if things continue, this has probably been the best winter of all time because we had one little snowstorm, but other than that, we haven't seen anything below like 30. So
that's good.
We've been in good shape.
It's good.
So what this podcast is about, we talk mostly about sports, hip hop, politics, and everything in between. We give it to you straight, raw, no chaser. And if we offend you, we apologize slightly.
I don't apologize.
Well, yeah, our guests don't apologize, but we apologize on their behalf. So how we kick things off, we have our taking a shot segment when we give a bold prediction about one of the topics I just named. Collectively, we do about 80%. But we're bound to have some hiccups here and there. But we're consistent because we're educated sports, hip hop, and political men. So that's how we do it. I'm gonna kick it off. I'm gonna take it to the NFL, and it's the end of the road. Big Ben is going to retire. It's over, man. The Steelers cannot afford to bring him back. His cap hit is way too much. They need some juice on that offense. The running game is horrible. And that's because there's no threat of a run from Big Ben. So, people could just stay at home in their gaps. And I think Tomlin is going to end up staying because I thought maybe after the end of the game they might have let him go. But, he's still sticking around. And if he's made it to this point, he might stick around for next season because, like, a lot of the good candidates are starting to, having their final interviews and maybe, getting ready to accept the job. So if Tomlin hits the open market, he immediately goes to the top of the list. So the fact that they kept him, I think he's going to stay. But for Big Ben, I think it's done, man. Like I said, the game has moved beyond him. He can't move. His arm strength is still there a little bit, but his accuracy has diminished. In this offense, like, while they did win 11 games in a row. Each game was kind of like shaky, fluky, a little lucky. And I just think, going forward, they're going to want a complete change, maybe try to make a trade for a young quarterback, like Deshaun, or maybe look at Jimmy G, somebody. But at the end of the day, I think it's over for Big Ben. He can enjoy his off seasons with Coors Light and not working out, and just live the good life, man. He's rich, has a family. That's it, man. I think it's over for Big Ben. That's my taking a shot this week. Snell, your thoughts?
Well, listen, man. If we want to look at my call last week, my taking a shot last week with the Steelers being eliminated from the playoffs, that happened. I agree. I think Big Ben. I think that whole regime is all over. I think Big Ben is done. I still think Tomlin is done as well. So I think the whole, like, that whole thing, Juju, all of them, you name them, they're all gone. Like, I think it's going to be a whole just a big line shift, like NHL hockey. Like, we're bringing in a whole new changes everywhere. Offense, defense, coaches, like, everything's changing. So I agree. Big Ben's gone.
All right, Brish, your thoughts?
So I was dancing in the beginning. I was dancing to the little Boys to Men, end of the road. I'm ready to get Big Ben all the way out of here. Maybe he can go back to frequenting those bars and maybe or maybe not raping women every summer.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, right? Yeah. two girls, two different states, same exact profile. They said the same thing happened to him. Yeah, I know. Allegedly.
Those Cosbypolitans.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Allegedly. But no, Big Ben. I mean, he's cooked. Like he is dust. He's complete dust. If that team had an average quarterback, I mean like replacement level, they would have walked up and down the Browns. Yeah. I mean, like, did y'all see his stat line? Like, he threw the ball like 67 times. Like, he was a statue back there all season. I mean, I think when I was on here the last time, I was saying how like they're a paper champions, and I didn't believe that they were any good. And I think that was when they were still undefeated. I think they hadn't lost yet. But yeah, I mean, Big Ben, he has to go. He was crying on the bench at the end of the game.
That's how you know it's over.
Yo, he knows it's over. Like it's over. Like cue the fat lady, tell her she's on in 5. Like it's over. Juju said he wants to go to a bigger market or whatever to build his brand. I guess he doesn't understand that like no one cares about you if you're not good. Yeah. So like, he can make his TikTok videos or whatever he's going to do.
Yeah, I heard about that, and I'm like, I mean, Baker Mayfield is in Cleveland, and he's on every commercial. Like if you're watching ESPN or any channel, Baker Mayfield is on every commercial segment. And for Juju to say that where Pittsburgh is beloved throughout the entire United States, that was crazy. But
I mean, I don't have to take up too much time. Like, get Big Ben out of here. Like he's done.
And if Juju went to a bigger like football market and he did that, he would get like crucified. He wouldn't be able. He wouldn't leave his house. Like if he was on the Giants and did that, like dancing and they're losing, he wouldn't leave his house. Like, I'm just stay in the house, and somebody like give me security guards to get me directly to practice and back like every week. That would be what happened. So
yeah, I mean that Steelers team is stacked. Like they had no business. They had no business losing to the Browns. Are you kidding me? Like the Browns had guys on the offensive line that Baker Mayfield was meeting like in the pregame. Like they had no business. Like that Steelers team is stacked. Offense, defense, special teams. Like Big Ben was an anchor around that team's neck. He probably goes and they might get better, honestly. Like I don't know what they're gonna do in terms of I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do in terms of James Conner. I don't know what they're going to do. Yeah, I'm almost certain that
their running game was poor. Like they were the only team. Yeah, cousin Benny looked horrible. Like
Benny Snell, Benny Snell,
cousin
Benny slow as a snail. He's awful.
Cousin Benny could he couldn't get a yard. I was like, yo, you gotta like he's walking to the hole.
Yo, the first time Brisc put that in the group chat, I literally laughed for like 5 minutes because I didn't even think of a name like that.
Yeah.
But to say
Benny Snell, he's terrible. he's
cousin
terrible.
Benny, man. I'm rooting for him but you got to do better, man. Like it's like comical. Like it'll be like, oh, it's 3rd and 1, and y'all about to get us to Benny. Like this is stuffed. Like
I've never seen so many 31s get stuffed by a certain team ever. Yeah. But all right, moving on. Big Ben, I think he's going to retire. But moving on. Snell, what is your taking the shot, sir?
Listen, man, I don't know if we touched on this yet, but I think this time last year we were talking about there's an improvement in black coaches in the NFL, but coming to this next season, I think we only going to have one black coach in the NFL. So I think we're taking a huge step back. I think Tomlin's done. I don't think, from what I'm hearing, Eric Bieniemy can't interview well, which is not a good look. Yeah. So I don't think he gets. I think he gets left out again. And I think we just got Flores down in Miami. And that'll be it for the next season. Like, and I don't know whatever they got to do, whatever stimulus package they got to come up with to get black coaches hired. They got to figure it out because I don't see it happening. I don't see any other hires, to me anyway. Like maybe Marvin. Like I know people say like Marvin may come back, but I kind of think his jig's up. Like that's been figured out. Jim Caldwell, like maybe, like I just don't see the candidates arising to get these jobs. So I think we get next season one black coach. That's it.
Yeah, I did see. I saw Jim Caldwell and Eric Bieniemy was linked to the Texans, and I guess that's just really to like make Deshaun happy, to like keep him there. Like, hey man, we got you a black coach, please stay. Like, I have no idea, but Caldwell is interesting because he was very solid with the Lions. Like the Lions have been a dumpster fire pretty much our entire lives. But Caldwell, he brought some form of stability there. They never, overachieved or anything, but 7-9, 6-10, 8-8. He always kept them respectable. The enemy, this is the biggest mystery to me because like you have people beneath the enemy that's getting like interviews and all season long we talked about how Eric Bieniemy is going to be like the hottest coach out there. He's going to be picked. Every team that has a vacancy is going to want him, but I don't know, man. He must be in these interviews just like smoking a cigar, like, yo, where do I sign? And they're like, yo, like, can we conduct the interview, please? Like, I have no idea because he should have been hired years ago.
Yeah,
like especially after last year. So if he don't get a job this year, something is really, really wrong with this man. But yeah, I think you're right. We're trending in the wrong direction in regards to black coaches. We might have one, maybe two, but yeah, it's looking bad out here. Brisc, your thoughts?
I mean, I hadn't thought about that at all, but I mean, you make a good point. I want to argue it, but I don't know that I can. The thing about Eric Bieniemy is so weird. Is like he like for it to come out that he doesn't interview well now, and for it to come out that like that's been the rap on him for years, and it just hasn't come out because he hasn't been. This is like his peak in terms of how wanted he's been. It's just weird. Like it makes me think that maybe it's just all Andy Reid and he's just standing there. Like, maybe when they get him in the interview and they're like, yo, cook up some of them plays, baby. Cook up some of them plays. He's looking at the whiteboard like
usually
usually what I do,
usually Andy says sends a guy in motion right here, like
exactly. So I mean I don't know. I don't know. Like I honestly don't want to see a lot of the coaches, a lot of the black coach candidates that like will be coming back, like the retreads. Like I don't want to see those guys. Like I don't want to see those guys. Like
you got Todd Bowles, Marvin Lewis.
No.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if Lovey is. Lovey's definitely not getting a head coaching job, but maybe a coordinator job.
Yeah. I mean, all those guys are just better as coordinators in the NFL to me. Like all of them. I mean, Anthony Lynn is probably better as just nothing, but I mean,
I saw there was some reports that he's getting some interest as a offensive coordinator from some teams, but I doubt it. I doubt a team brings him in. So at least not this year.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I mean, it's looking bad for us out here, man. It's looking bad for us. We had we were. I thought we were looking good for a while. Like, we might have like five of the best quarterbacks be black. We might have a bunch of black head coaches, and now it's just like, well, we still got a bunch of good black quarterbacks, but we might not have any black head coaches. Exactly. The coaches might be in bad shape, but Flores is good though. Flores is really good. Flores is really good.
Yeah, Flores seems legit, but
and I actually do believe that Tomlin will still. I don't. That's one thing that I disagree with you on. I think Tomlin will stay, or if he doesn't stay, I mean, he'll be unemployed for 5 seconds if he doesn't stay.
I think he'll be unemployed by choice. Like why aren't you working? It's like I don't want to.
Yeah, I need a year off to regroup. But all right, moving on. Brisc, what is you taking the shot, sir?
So, all right. So, I've been juggling a couple, and I think I'm gonna go with one that's gonna hurt me. It's gonna hurt me personally. So I think that in the NFL, man, this is gonna hurt. All right. So anyone who knows me well knows how I feel about Phillip Rivers and Matthew Stafford. They're without question the two most overrated quarterbacks in my lifetime. I think I can make a good argument that they're two of the most overrated quarterbacks in the history of the NFL. And they oftentimes get lumped in with Matt Ryan, who is the quarterback of my beloved Atlanta Falcons. I usually try my best to uncouple the three of them and tell people Stafford stinks. He hasn't done anything ever. Why is he being mentioned as a good quarterback? Phillip Rivers has been in the league for 1,000,000 years, thrown for 1,000,000 yards, never won a big game. Matt Ryan has a league MVP, been in the Super Bowl, et cetera, et cetera. Don't mention these guys in the same breath. I'm about to mention them in the same breath. I think all three of these quarterbacks next season end up on different teams.
I can see that.
Now, I don't know where they end up. God knows. I hope that when the music stops, the Falcons don't end up with one of the other two, because that would be absolutely worst case scenario. But I mean, I think it's over for Phillip Rivers. I think it's over for him. But I think his gee golly all shucks, I got 1,000,000 kids and people love me and the good culture. Like some team will bring him in thinking that he's good for the locker room, the same way the Colts did.
Well, the thing with Phillip, he already has a high school coaching gig, like a high school football coaching gig lined up. So whenever he's ready to take it, like it's not like if he retires, he has nothing to do. He has something to do. But
I mean, he can also just go be a dad to his 90 kids.
Yeah,
he's got a job forever.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna. I don't think he would accept a backup job. But if a team is going to offer him a starting role, I think he'll take it. But if not, he's gonna go coach those high school kids and take care of his own kids. Like that. That's what he's going to go do.
And Matthew Stafford, I mean, what? Like, if you're a Lions fan, like, how have you not been trying to burn that man's house? Like, yo, how many years are we not going to get there? Like, yo, how long do I have to watch you take this team to 8-8? Like, how many years? How many years do I have to watch you take this team to 8-8? So I think
they're cursed, man.
with him.
They're cursed. This is just an organizational failure. Like we saw with Barry Sanders, we saw with Calvin Johnson. Like who succeeds in Detroit? It's just systematically something is wrong. Like
same can be said for San Diego, I believe. Like I think it's something in the upper the ownership. I think there's just something wrong up there.
I think if you get Stafford out of there, so out of the three, I think Stafford still has the most in the tank because he's the youngest one.
Out of the three? He has more in the tank than Matt Ryan? Oh,
absolutely. No, I'm not trying to piss me off. No, yo.
What has he done?
Matt Ryan,
for you to,
no disrespect. Matt Ryan looks a little shot. Like I don't know what the hell happened to him this year. He looks like a shot fighter.
I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to argue anything for the Falcons. I hate them currently, but but I just have to ask you. You say Matt Ryan looks shot. Stafford's looked shot for like 6 seasons. Like what are we watching that is different? Like what has he done to make you think that he still has something left in the tank?
He's trying to defeat the opponent and the organization at the same time. Like the Lions organization, they're an enemy. Like they can't get it right. Like their defense, they have nothing. They literally have nothing on defense. Patricia, horrible coach. And then, I mean, bring Jim Caldwell back. At least he brought some consistency, something.
Yeah, consistently 7-9.
Okay, but with Patricia, you're going like 4-12, 3-13. Like it's just bad. Like that was bad, really bad.
But Shiz, what is the common denominator amongst all of those coaches?
Ownership.
Stat Padford is the common denominator.
Nah, I mean Matt Stafford's not, he's no, Aaron Rodgers. We're gonna talk about Aaron Rodgers in a minute too, because I think you might owe America an apology. Especially you owe me an apology for sure. But
no, I don't. But okay.
But Matthew Stafford, he needs to get out of there. He needs to go to a team. If Stafford goes to like the 49ers, is he an upgrade over Jimmy G? I think so.
I mean, Jimmy G stinks. Jimmy G stinks. So I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Jimmy G is just bad. Like he can't play. So I mean, Stafford is like Stafford's serviceable. So yeah, he might be an upgrade, but saying Stafford is an upgrade over Jimmy G is not a compliment.
I mean, Jimmy G was just in the Super Bowl last year.
Come on, man. Come on. Don't do that. Don't do that.
He's a winning player.
You know good and damn well that the 49ers did not get to the Super Bowl off the back of Jimmy G.
It wasn't the back. It wasn't like he held them back though. He didn't carry them, but he did his part. Man, Matthew Stafford would do his part as well.
No. Jimmy G and Nick Mullins are like the same player. So like on. What so yeah, Stafford would be an upgrade, but so what? What?
I don't think he would be. I think that when you talk about those guys, like Stafford needs to go to he needs to go to a loaded team. Like he needs to go to the Colts. Like that's where Stafford needs to go. He has to go somewhere it's like, hey, listen, we just need you to get on the field. Like we got a great offensive line. You ain't got to scramble for your life. We got running backs. You don't got to drop back too many times. Like you are athletic enough to move, to be a little mobile, but I just don't think to me, he's just not a winner. And I don't think there's nothing you can do to change. He's just not a winner. So
he's not a winner.
If you
never won.
So if you put him
he's never won. He's not winning.
If you put him on a team that's like average, you're gonna get the same product that you got in Detroit. Like you're gonna get he needs to go to he would need to go to a stacked team in order for if he went to the Colts for like the Colts are coming off 11-5.
Yeah.
Like they're coming off 11. You know what I mean? Like they're good. Like they could have had it. They could have had damn near anybody play quarterback and been 10-6, 11-5. Like that was gonna happen. Yeah. So he's talented enough that he might can take that team to 12-4 because he's better, just a little bit better than average. But if you stick him on the 49ers, like who's coming off a bad year and like they'll go from 4-12, they'll be 5 and they'll be 5. They'll win one extra game. Yeah. So, but as much as I hate Matty ass, you can at least say I can at least say that he's
a winner.
He's gonna win, and he at least understands hey, this is where we're off at. Like we're bad in these areas. We need to fix. I feel like he can at least get you lined up properly, get you organized to a point where it's like, okay, we're this year. I think he was like, listen, we're not good. I know we're not good. It's all right. I know we're not good. But if you put him on a team, he can at least this is what we need. This is kind of what we need to do to get this thing right and possibly get to. So he can at least get you lined up right. I'll give him that much for sure.
So just freestyling, thinking about it, I'll say this. Maybe this should have been my taking the shot because this is going to be spicy. So I think if Matt Ryan were to end up in Pittsburgh and they kept their same team, subtract Juju because I don't think Juju's they're not going to pay him. Mm. If Matt Ryan ends up in Pittsburgh, that's like the second or third best team in the AFC. Because that roster is stacked, and he is a definite. He's a significant upgrade to Big Ben right now. You give him Chase Claypool, Deontay Johnson, Eric Ebron, a great defense, great secondary, great linebackers, great defensive line. Great head coach,
I think if he went to the Colts, if Matt Ryan went to the Colts, they're comfortably 2, in the AFC, like comfortably,
Or
without a doubt.
or San Fran. If Matt Ryan goes to San Fran, reunites with Shanahan, I think that'd be good too. For
See,
him.
I don't think San Francisco is that. I just don't. I don't think like we
They
talked
were
about this.
they were just really hurt this year. Like
They were
their whole defense was just they were out. So I think
Yeah.
they'll bounce back next year. Maybe add maybe add another like weapon on the outside, but I think they will bounce back for sure. Maybe add like a corner or something like that. But I think they're primed for another like good season as long as they're healthy.
Yeah.
I think Arizona, in my opinion, like there's going to be like we're going to have to start having some honest conversations about Cliff Kingsbury if they don't make the playoffs next year. Like he might that seat might start getting a little warm for him.
That seat's hot.
I think he gets a whole another season. He gets another full season. I don't think he gets fired mid-season next year unless they start off in like 0-9. Like they're like 0-9. He's not coming. He's fired. But
I think he's figured out. I think offensively that teams have figured it out. I think that's what that's a sign of. We figured it out. We're going to bang up Kyler Murray like to a point where you're gonna like now it's gonna go from like now you would need to change that offense to we need to create an offense where Kyler Murray doesn't run because he's getting hurt. Yeah. And that's the play, like that's the whole playbook. Is him scrambling. So once you change that, it's over. And that's what you have to do because he's your number one quarterback. And you see, it's the second year, and he just broke down like it was nobody. You know what I mean? Like a quarterback shouldn't break down like that on you,
especially a young one.
Exactly. Like what's wrong with you? He can't walk. Like that's not like that's not like if he hurt his throwing hand. Like those are like normal. And like he's hurt. Like he can't move. He can't physically can't walk. Pulled his hamstring. Like. Those type of injuries are just like they just linger, and it's going to make you change the way you have to call your offense, and that's their offense. It's him running around. Like if Lamar Jackson is like, yo, I pull my he starts pulling his hamstring or starts having leg injuries, Jim Harbaugh will have to change. We got to change this up. Like we can't risk him because you see what happens when he gets hurt to that extent. So it's like we can't risk him having another leg injury related problem because this thing's really over. We don't have any good backup. Like it's like that's the whole offense. So I think that seat's hot, and I think the jig's up because they have to try to redo that offense, and I don't think it's going to work.
I just have one quick thing about Cliff. I have one quick thing about Cliff Kingsbury. I think his biggest issue is that when he came into the league, everybody was expecting him to run this like super fast pace, run a bunch of plays, spread out 4 wide receivers. Like he talked about how they were going to run 4 wide receiver sets more than any other team in the league, et cetera, et cetera. So I think people were expecting this up tempo, bombs away, deep ball pass offense all the time, and instead what they did is what I heard someone call the horizontal raid, which they have 4 receivers and like at a higher percentage than any other team in the league, but everybody's running like 3 and 4 yard routes. So there's like no deep balls, no explosive plays, no splash plays, none of that. And I think another big problem that he had is he inherited Larry Fitzgerald. And because Larry Fitzgerald is like this, no one's going to say anything bad about Larry Fitzgerald. Arizona. He's Mr. Arizona. He's basically like the mayor of the city, the state, whatever. And like, he keeps wanting to play. And because he's like, I know it's stupid, but like he won't retire. And because he's in good shape and he comes in camp in good shape and he's a great like teammate, he's kind of like Frank Gore. Where like coaches are like, this guy does everything right, so like we're gonna play him. Yeah. When instead, like just because like Larry Fitzgerald is old, so like I'm sorry, like you should be playing Andy Isabella because that gives your offense more pop, right? And then you can like change around some things, but you have 68-year-old Larry Fitzgerald running in the slot, and like all he can do is run the horizontal read. Like he can't run downfield. So you get put in that spot where like you have to run this offense that you kind of wanted to run, but then your personnel makes you have to run that offense. So
yeah, I also think even with that, I think another rude awakening he got is just that, and I think a couple. I think Chip Kelly went through the same thing. Of hey, we don't have that many roster spots. Like, when you start to talk, like if you're running 4 receiver sets and 2 of those receivers get tired, like yo, you only really got like one. You got another receiver and a tight end to sub in. Like you don't have another like. Oh, I just got 4 more receivers to just throw. Like your roster isn't that big. So running that is just it doesn't work long term. Like as we saw with Chip Kelly, the same thing. Oh, they're gonna have this high flying, super fast, up tempo offense. Yeah, that's great until you get down, or guys start getting tired, or you start getting injuries, and it's like, well, how do we get enough receivers in here to keep running this offense? It's like we can't. And then you start bringing in practice squad guys, and everything just goes off the rails.
Yeah.
So.
All right. That was our taking a shot segment. Pardon the no audio technical difficulties this afternoon, but you'll still love us though. All right, moving on to the NBA. We had a massive trade take place. We kind of saw a trade coming, but not in this manner. So if you haven't heard, if you've been away from Earth. James Harden has been traded to the Brooklyn Nets. I'm going to read the full details here. So the Nets get James Harden. The Rockets get Victor Oladipo, Dante Exum, Rodans Kurix. This is the only player I do not know.
Rodans
Kurux. 3 Nets first round picks. First round pick from Milwaukee. First, and also they get to switch picks with the Nets. For first round swaps in the future. So when this tandem breaks apart and it's like 2028. The Rockets will be able to swap those picks when the Nets are winning 15 games in the season. But also the Pacers got Karis LeVert, face of the franchise, and a second round pick. And the Cavs, they picked up Jared Allen and Taurean Prince. So just on the surface level, when you pair 3 guys like this, Kyrie Irving, James Harden, Kevin Durant, if this is 2K, it's an unbeatable roster. You can't win. But this is real life. And Kyrie Irving, he is away from the team. He's they say he's like fighting for social change. Who knows? This is a man that thinks
who knows?
This is a man that thinks the earth is flat. So you just really never know what's going on. That's that Duke education. Then James Harden is like 15 pounds overweight. So he's still very skilled, but I always wondered, if you are a pro athlete and you run every day for a living, how much food do you have to eat to be that out of shape? Like, I just wonder, like, for him, a player that is very skilled, basketball, you run miles per game.
Yeah.
To be that big, like always word like this, like the big Baby Davis effect. How much food are you eating to be that out of weight? I mean, yeah, that big, but still be able to play NBA basketball. Like, I always wondered about that. But so that's an issue with the with James Harden. Kevin Durant looks great, but the injury.
So good.
Yeah, Kevin, he looks great. He looks to be fully back. He's the one constant. So we'll start with, like, do you think this is going to work? Brisc, I'll ask you first.
Hell no. This shit ain't gonna work. So we talked about this. We talked about this a little bit in the pre-show, but like, I mean, the only way this shit works is if somebody from the bench throws another ball in the court. Like, yo, y'all need another one. Like it's the Globetrotters or something. Because, I mean, you literally have the 3, 1, 2, 3 in whatever order you want to put them in. The 3 most ball dominant players in the NBA currently on the same team. So like, I don't know how they could possibly make it work. Like I don't even watch ESPN anymore. Fox Sports, like all those shows, like those guys, it's just gotten like cringeworthy to me. Like they don't even care. It's obvious to me that they don't care about like trying to have good opinions. It's just like who can take out the hot take cannon and like shoot and like yeah, and like who can say the spiciest thing like this week. But I did see something or hear something that someone said. I think it was Shannon Sharp, and he said that Kyrie doesn't even like being the second fiddle. So how's he going to feel being the third fiddle? And like
Very true.
that's an excellent point. That's an excellent point. This man didn't like being the second fiddle to LeBron James in his prime. So how do you think he's going to feel being the third fiddle behind, I mean, arguably like two of the best scorers in the history of the NBA, not even arguably, two of the best scorers, pure scorers in the history of the NBA. Like, how do you think he's going to feel like that? And that's assuming that he comes back and plays. That's assuming that he gets off his Zoom calls or whatever he's doing and like comes back and plays. So I don't know how this shit works. Their bench is terrible now. Like their bench is terrible now. Usually I don't care about bench stuff, but like in the playoffs, that stuff matters because I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to run Kyrie, Harden, and Durant 48 minutes apiece? Like are they just never going to sub out? Like so
Yeah.
I can't imagine that it works. It's going to be fun in the regular season. There's going to be like some Globetrotter type highlights. It's going to feel like the N1 mixtape tour some nights, you know, guys getting crossed over. It's going to be fun. But in the playoffs, like it's just too many guys that need the ball in isolation situations for it to be a winning strategy, I think.
All right, Snow, you think it's going to work?
I mean, I'm not going to say it. So the only way it works is one, everybody needs to somewhat, I would say you need to default to KD. Like if everybody is working under the mindset of like, all right, Kevin Durant's the best player on this team. Like whatever he says goes. I think it could possibly work it has to be some type of structure. Like it can't be like James Harden has to know that Kevin Durant's the better player and he has to play that way. Like that's the only way I can see it working. And then also you kind of need Kyrie to like go look at like, yo, I need you to go like take a look at Chris Bosh when that big three got together. Like he needs to understand like, yo, I have to play a certain role, which is going to not be scoring. Like it's like that's what he needs. Like so, if they can figure that out and come together, it could possibly work. But this whole thing, I think it falls on the back of Kevin Durant because I feel like he's the one that really made the push to get James Harden. So maybe James Harden come there and just like, hey, listen, you got me out of Houston. So I'm just gonna come here and listen to you. Like I'm not doing anything else. So maybe you get that, but it also has a bit of that when Brooklyn traded for like Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, and all, like that makeshift big three of like, all right, they might be like competitive. Like you think like they might like they got Joe. Who they have? They have like Joe Johnson,
Brooke Lopez.
Yeah, it's like this team's a solid team. Like they might not win it all, but they're gonna give you a deep playoff run, and they just get knocked out in the first round, and then the team just falls. Like so, it can have that same type of disaster feeling as well. So there's no gray. It's either going to work or it's going to go horribly wrong. There's no gray here.
Yeah, I think. Well, first the Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce. I think these current players they're just better. Like those guys were like past their primes. Like Harden and Kyrie, they're still like pretty much within their prime. Kevin Durant, he might be a little bit outside of his prime because of the injury, but he's still like elite. So that's one thing. Now, do you think you can explore a trade for Kyrie? There's dumb organizations out there. I would try to move him right away.
How can you trade a guy that you don't know where he's at?
Hey, well, legally probably
Exactly.
not. Like probably not.
Like,
But
hey, we want to trade you Kyrie. That's cool. So where is he located?
So where is he? Yes, yeah. So
yeah,
tell us where he is.
Like,
yeah. So
how can we get that physical? Like, how can we get that done? Like, how
so
soon can we
okay.
get that done? Like, oh, well, like we can't, we don't know. It's like trying to that the Kyrie situation is like trying to sell a house with a tenant in it that's not paying. Like, yeah, like you can buy the house and there's a person staying there that I can't get out. That's your problem now. Like, I'm good on that.
Yeah. All right. So let's play the assume game. Let's assume he comes back. Let's say in a week and a half, and he plays like 7, 8, 9 games in a row.
Yeah.
Do you move him then, or do you try to move him then?
This is about as low as the Kyrie stock can be. So
this is
like this is as low as it can. Like this is the floor. Like this is it can't go really any lower than this outside of him like just being Dwayne Haskins and go like, yeah, like I'm going to a strip club, take pictures of it. Like outside of that, it can't really go any lower than this. So I don't think they try to move. I can see them possibly trying to do it in the offseason. But right now, if I'm the Nets, you just try to build this thing back up. Like, yeah, he's been a model teammate since he's got back. He's doing all the right things, and then move in the offseason.
Yeah, see, because immediately when the trade went through, I thought about, all right, it might be time to trade Kyrie somehow, some way. Let's pinpoint a dumb organization in the NBA and let's make a move. And I immediately thought about the Kings. So like, if De'Aaron Fox and Marvin Bagley become available,
oh no,
why would the King like the I'm talking like let's say the Kings are dumb enough to pull the trigger on this deal.
Yeah, why the hell would the Kings do that?
Yeah,
they're the Kings. The Kings don't. When the last time the Kings made a smart decision? Exactly.
That's a good point.
So if you're the Nets, would you do something like that? Get like a younger point guard that would play the third option because you're playing with two guys that you look up to, and then if you're the Nets, would you do something like that, or would you just stick it out with Kyrie?
If the Nets could trade Kyrie for De'Aaron Fox, they would do it. They would do it in a heartbeat. But no, they're not going to give you that. Like you're going to get. You want to know what you would get? You would probably get like that Dante Exum, like straight up. Like like yo, this is what you're getting. Like you're just not getting your hands on. You're definitely not going to get your hands trading Kyrie on any young talent. The players that you would probably get are you would get expensive guards. You would get
expiring contracts.
You may get yourself like an Eric Bledsoe, or you may get yourself a Scary Terry. Like you're gonna get yourself like an expensive guard. You're gonna get yourself an expensive guard. That's what you're looking at. I think that's what you're staring down the barrel at if you're trying to trade that Kyrie. Because you also need to kind of offset his contract. So you can't just be like, yo, I'm going to give you this real cheap young guy on a rookie deal for Kyrie, and then we're way over the cap. Like we have to give you like yo, we need you to take. Like I said, we need you to take this Eric Bledsoe and be happy about it. Like that's what we need.
Yeah, if we're talking along those lines, you're probably just better off keeping Kyrie. But yeah, just it like I said, when the Harden deal went through, I immediately thought, how do we trade Kyrie Irving?
You'll get a what's his name? The most expensive player for 1 year, Mike Conley. You'll get your hands on somebody like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's where when you start talking those big contracts, I think that's where you're sitting at of like, yeah, you want a guard? We got one for you. we got one for you. I'm just not sure if you like it.
I mean, Mike Conley's a better fit there. He's a better fit there.
Yeah, he's a knockdown shooter, distributor. But it's crazy. So the Rockets, long term, they look like they're going to be okay because you got all these first round picks. Oladipo is
how
long term, like
they're going to be okay
because they got a million picks.
Yeah, but Yeah, but their star guard is a guy coming off of what? Achilles, ACL. He's coming
I'm
off of
talking like
every injury that you could have.
yeah. I'm not saying like contender. I'm just saying like they're not going to be like horrible. I mean, they still might not be very good, but at least you could sell the hope. Like, yo, we got all these picks. Like, if they ever wanted to make like a trade or something, we got Houston, we got low taxes, and we got strip clubs and all. You could get a free agent down there, or you can make a trade for somebody.
Yeah, they
But
got to
yeah,
hit on the draft.
that their roster of like Wall and Cousins and Oladipo. Somebody called them first team All ACL. That was kind of funny. But yeah, they're
All ACL. Oh man,
that's pretty
that
good.
was so
good.
yeah. I mean Christian the what is it, Christian Wood like that? He's been balling
Christian
out.
Wood can ball. He can ball.
He's been balling out. So you could definitely build around him. But they're just going to be like a 500 team in the West at best.
They are
forward.
They are a first round punching bag for the Lakers or the Clippers or whoever is like the 1 or 2 seed for the foreseeable future. Like they're just like they're the first round like warm up for a championship contender in the West.
I don't even think they're that. I think they're that new NBA. Like the 10 seed has a shot to get in. And then they go play that game and get blown out. Like I think that's I think that's where they're at. That team they have to hit in the draft because all these guys are gone. The Oladipo, John Wall, Boogie,
it's like the halfway house. Like let's get our life back together and then I'm out of here.
This is a working vacation. Like this is what we're on. We're on a working vacation. Like let's see how this goes. Let's see how this goes. And then somebody make a trade for me, like a contender make a trade for me or pick me up. Like that's what it's going to be. And those guys get out of there. And like you said, you got Christian Wood. He looks good. And then you got to hit on something in the draft to kind of restart it all over again. Because I don't think
maybe they could package up them draft picks and move up and grab a player.
That's they're gonna be. I think they're gonna be bad. So I don't think they're gonna need to package up anything to move up. They'll be there. Like, we're already we're here. We're in the lottery. Like we're in it. Like we don't need to package up anything. So
All right. So Snell, your Pacers, they got involved. They picked up Karis LeVert in second. What are your thoughts?
Oh, don't disrespect Karis. Karis can
I
ball.
like Karis. I listen. I like Karis. I think he's an excellent talent. I just with all of those picks floating around, there's no way you couldn't get your hands on a first round pick. In my thoughts, it's too. What was it? It's 11 picks being moved, and y'all come out of that whole thing with a second rounder. Like that's just impossible to me. Like at least get a first round pick. I would have liked to listen. If we're gonna get active, get real active, and get that TJ Warren and that Miles Turner out of there too. Like if they want to make some trades, let's shake it up.
Why do you not like TJ Warren? Like I just don't understand
I don't know
this.
What your hate is for the bubble goat? I don't know what your hate is for the bubble goat. You gotta respect the bubble goat.
TJ Warren
respect the bubble goat.
TJ
as soon
Warren,
as this COVID is over, you owe me a night of drinking courtesy of the bubble goat. I know you ain't forget that.
Listen, man, once this TJ Warren is exactly who he was in the bubble. He's a talented scorer until things get real and you put you put somebody that's really trying to put their hands on him like Jimmy Butler and he shuts down. Like that's exactly who he is. He's a great talent. Until it's like, yo, the lights are on and it's a real killer on you. Like he's really trying to shut you down. Like that's his goal. And he just folds up. But he, like I said, he can score. I think he's a guy, like I said, you could move him to a team and they can use him for off-bench scoring. But to not get a first-round pick is just crazy to me. I think Karis LeVert is super talented. I think he'll work well with Michael Brogdon. Like I have no problem with that. But just not getting a first-round pick is just beyond me. I don't get it. I don't get how that happened.
Yeah,
I would have stopped the whole because I'm stopping the whole trade. Like if we ain't getting the first, this trade's not going through. Like James Harden, you staying in Houston. Like we're not moving. So
that the the Pacers being involved was just so random to me. Like them just getting involved was wild. But
Yeah.
all right, Cavs, like they said, they got Jared Allen. Really nothing to speak of. Like the Cavs are the Cavs. Like
It's
that's it.
just so weird. Like they already have
Drummond, like
Drummond and JaVale McGee, like and Larry Nance.
Yeah,
Like why do they need another young big man? Like what are they doing?
yeah, that I have
So
no idea.
strange.
yeah, that's
Yeah. But all right, moving on from basketball, NFL playoffs, the divisional round is here. First game on the docket, first game on Saturday is Rams at Packers. Packers hosting. Um, they're a home 6.5 point favorite on its way to 7. My opinion, I just think Jared Goff he's just not he's not it. It just doesn't work. And
Yeah.
him going into a cold weather atmosphere, Aaron Rodgers, having an MVP year. I think the Rams defense shows up, but once the Packers put a few points on the board, eventually, I just don't think Jared Goff, especially with that repaired or reconstructed thumb that he has, whatever it is, I don't think he's going to be able to move the offense enough to score points and keep up. The defense will keep it, close early. Then I just think Aaron Rodgers makes a few plays, gets him to like a 10-point lead. And I just think Goff, playing like a deer in headlights, he just never recovers. And I think the Packers win this game for sure. And I also think they cover the 6.5. So now I'll start with you. What are your thoughts?
So two things. Before I even get into the analysis, Jared Goff is definitely this is not a good situation of having a hand injury, like joint type hand injury, and going into cold weather. Like that's the worst thing you could probably ask for. And the Rams would also be another landing spot. Like if they got themselves like a Matt Ryan, that thing's over because McVay's basically been coaching, like he's basically been playing quarterback, like from the side, like he's doing everything. So if you give them somebody with like a quarterback with half a brain, it might be over. But this game, I just think the Packers win rather easily. I think the quarterback situation is not good. The Packers offensive line, this is not the Seahawks. Like they can actually block. So it's just going to be a bad situation. You got to the travel, the cold, people nicked up. It's just not looking good. I think the Packers win rather easily. That would be my take on this game.
All right, Brice, your thoughts.
Yeah, I won't take up too much time. I mean, this is just a mismatch. Like this is just a mismatch. The Rams, I mean, like they can't beat this Packers team. Like I don't have to say too much. Like Aaron Rodgers is playing out of his mind. The coach finally gave him keys to the offense so he can run all the plays that he wants, and he's good enough to do that. And Devontae Adams is amazing, and their defense is good enough, but it doesn't matter because they play from ahead so much, and Aaron Jones is great, and it's just like the Rams, the Rams need to win. The only way the Rams can win in any of these games is a low-scoring game, and I just don't believe that their defense is good enough. Like they have all-world players. Like they have 2 all-world players. They have Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey, but I mean, they're going to give up points. And then when it comes down to Goff trying to make up points in the cold with a bad thumb, I don't see it.
All right, moving on. Saturday night, Ravens at Bills. Bills 2.5 point favorites. This is my favorite game of the week. This is like my favorite matchup of the week. I think like I said last week, I think Lamar's on a mission, man, and I think Baltimore goes in there and gets a victory. It's going to be a tough, back and forth game. Both offenses can put up a lot of points in a hurry. Josh Allen has that offense humming. Lamar Jackson has kind of reverted back to his MVP ways. The Bills' defense is not all that great against the run, so it kind of opens them up a little bit. The Ravens' defense, their pass rush is pretty good. with Calais Campbell and Judon. So very, very interesting matchup. You know, both teams are comfortable playing in the cold, so that's not a factor. I just think that Lamar makes a couple like wow plays and gets them over the hump to win this game. It wouldn't surprise me if the Bills won. They're the favorite, but I just think there's something special brewing with this Ravens team this year. They've been hot, and I just see like Lamar just getting loose on a couple plays, like couple like 50-yard runs that completely flip the game around. And I think the Baltimore's defense to get a hand on Josh Allen one or two times and make him throw an interception. And I think the Ravens find a way to win this game and move on. Brisc, I'll start with you. I know you're a Bills. I thought you said the Bills are going to the Super Bowl. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not backing off that take. I mean, they've made me look very good since I said that on the other episode that I was on. I think a lot of what you said, I'll piggyback on, but I'll take the opposite side. I think this is one of those like this feels like one of those special years for the Bills, and the Bills haven't had very many of those, if any, in the last like 2 decades. But this team feels different, and the way they come at you in waves, like I just don't, I don't. I mean, it's going to come down to can Lamar keep up with his arm, and I like Lamar a lot, but at this point in his career, I don't think he's prepared to play catch up and have to play catch up with his arm. And that defense, that Baltimore defense, is like average. It's like it's good. It's not great. Um, and the Mad Bomber, Josh Allen, he doesn't give a fuck. He doesn't care. He's there. They got four receivers out there. He's dropping back throwing deep balls. Stephon Diggs, he doesn't give a fuck. They're gonna score. They're gonna try to score 40 or 50 every week. They're not gonna run the ball at all. They don't care. They're gonna tell you coming into the game, we're not running at all. We have a quarterback who's gonna run around. He's gonna do some schoolyard bullshit. He woke up feeling dangerous every day. I love the Bills. And I picked them to go to Super Bowl. And I mean, I don't know if they'll go to Super Bowl, but they're getting past Baltimore this weekend.
All right, Snell, your thoughts.
Yeah, I think like you said, I think this is definitely especially Saturday. This is the better game, but this is probably the best matchup I think of the weekend. I think Baltimore, they have a good shot, but I think if it is snowing and you don't have to worry about Lamar running around like because they're expecting snow. I think that's just a huge advantage for Buffalo. So if you don't have to worry about like Lamar just getting too crazy in the snow, I think it's a huge advantage for Buffalo. Even if it doesn't snow, I still think they have just a slight edge. I don't really think they have a good matchup for Diggs. I think Marcus Peters he's a gambler, and Diggs will beat the light. Like, yeah, he'll just beat the life out of you if you play like that. So I don't think they have a good matchup for him. So I still think Buffalo wins. I just don't. Now they win. I think they get to Kansas City, and then that's show's over there. But I do think they win this game.
All right. Speaking of the Chiefs, moving on. Sunday, first game of the day, we have the Browns visiting the Chiefs. Chiefs 10.5-point favorites. Browns has been a nice season, but it comes to a close on Sunday. I just don't see how like the Chiefs. You know, they've been kind of like sleepwalking all year. They haven't. You know, they've been winning games, but they haven't been covering games. So you know, a lot of the Vegas people have been talking about that. Browns, Baker Mayfield, he's been protecting the football. I think he only has like one interception in like the past 10 games, which is really good.
Yeah.
But I just think that once Kansas City, like the Browns want to run the ball. They want to run the ball, play defense. But once Kansas City puts a couple touchdown drives together and you're forced to pass, that's when things get problematic or become problematic. And I just don't think the Browns are capable of being in a shootout with the Chiefs. They've won shootouts in the past or earlier this season, but they are not capable of beating the Chiefs in the shootout, in my opinion. So, as far as the number, though, that's a bit too many points in a playoff game. I'm going to stay away from that. But as far as like overall winning the game, I do think the Chiefs take care of business. Some people are worrying about rust. We all know that Andy Reid off a bye. He's pretty good. Um, and yeah, I just think that the Browns. This is another one of those like this matchup is crazy. Things to get out of hand in a hurry, especially if the Chiefs are clicking on all cylinders. And I just don't think the Browns have enough to come back and compete with that. So give me the Chiefs, but as far as the line, not sure. So I'm going to stay away from the game. Snell, your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. This is one I think. So with last week with the Steelers, I was calling. I think any playoff team could have beat the Steelers. So I think a bit of that Browns win, I think that's even affecting this number a little bit. I think the Browns get blown smooth out. So I don't think this game's going to go good. Like outside of Kansas City literally beating themselves, I just don't see a way that they pull us off. Like even last week, I'll say with the Steelers, the way they were coming back on the Browns, like they started coming. If that's the Chiefs, they come back and win the game. Like
Absolutely.
they come back full circle, win the game. Like so. That was one thing that I saw in the Browns to even say, like, listen, even if they got up big, they can't hold the lead. And, we all seen what Kansas City did last year. They let you get up and then they just come back and still blow you out.
And cover.
And cover. Like, exactly. Like, you're up. That's great. We're still going to come back, blow you out, win. Like, so this is just a bad, like, I don't think the number really matters. I think this is a bad matchup. And you also have the Chiefs coming off of a bye. You got Andy Reid coming off of a bye. Exactly. Yeah. Coming off of a bye, preparing for a coach that may possibly still not have been talking to his team after winning the playoff game. So, like, this is just I just think it's just all signs are bad. So anyone that has any belief that the Browns can pull this off, best of luck to you. But I think this is a blowout, and I think this gets ugly in a very, very ugly way as far as the total. So,
all right, Chris, your thoughts?
Chiefs by $1 million.
Chiefs by. You kind of break it up. Say that again. You kind of it's a little shaky, but no, but we'll figure it out. All right, moving on. We have the Bucks at the Saints. Saints 3-point home favorites. This game, this I was hoping this didn't happen in this round because this matchup. I picked the Bucks to go to the Super Bowl, and this was the team that I was hoping the Bucks didn't have to play until the last game before the Super Bowl. But now that they have to play them in this round, it's tough, man. Like the Saints they're just a bad matchup for the Bucks, and they've taken care of business 2 times, and rather comfortably against this team. But I'm going to roll with Brady just because like it's Tom Brady. I think he finds enough to figure out a way to win this game for Tampa Bay. The Saints, they didn't really look all that great against the Bears. Mitch, I mean, he had that one pass that was dropped, which was crazy, but other than that, he didn't look good. The Saints offense, they weren't all that impressive. They moved the ball, but when it comes to like scoring touchdowns, it's just like Brees just doesn't have that zip anymore. It seems like, he can complete a 10, 15-yard pass, but when it comes to getting the ball down the field, he just doesn't have it anymore. So I think that leaves the door open for the Bucks. As far as the Bucks defense, like they were giving up a lot of yards to Heineke and the football team, which was crazy. So that can be a little bit problematic. But I just think that Brady finds enough to win this game, and the Bucks move on. It's not my head, it's my heart. I just think he finds enough to win this game, and that's all I got. Snell, your team, your thoughts.
Yeah, man, I've never cheered so hard for the Bears in my life as I did last week, because I was really trying to first off avoid this matchup, and two, squeeze out a home playoff game for us. But the Saints, they just went it, but they went ahead and took care of business. But this week, man, it's gonna be tough, man. Like you said, it's just a bad matchup for us. I have confidence that we could win the game, but our secondary is just so bad. Like, I don't like. I say it.
Y'all got Taylor Heineke a contract.
That secondary is so bad. I don't know how people don't see it. We're so bad. That's my biggest thing, is we're so bad. Even if Taylor Heineke can have that type of performance, you're talking about Drew Brees, play
that is definitely a concern.
That's the big issue, is that our secondary is just so bad, and this way the Saints offense is just, it's all precision. If you can't match up with these receivers, it just doesn't work out. Todd Bowles, I don't know if he's creative enough going against Sean Payton as far as the defenses that he's called. It's just to me, it's just a bad matchup when it comes to that. So it just worries me. It's hard to beat any team 3 times, but they've beat us twice, and they've done it rather easily. So, we need some help in the way of a couple turnovers. Maybe a big special teams play or something like that. The Bucks definitely need some help there, because that secondary, man, it's a huge liability going against a team that's very, very pass oriented and very, very organized. They don't really beat themselves. They're not going to do anything. They're not going to do anything too crazy. They're not going to hey, let's try this reverse double pass and fumble it. That's just not happening with this team. So we just got to we need some breaks. We need some breaks in the way of the third phase. And we need Tom to be Tom has to be our defense. He has to just control the game, control the ball, control the clock, and shorten the game up a little bit for us. And that's the only way that I see we can do it. We can't get into a shootout. That won't work. We'll lose that. We'll lose that every time. So,
all right, Brisc, your thoughts.
Can y'all hear me now?
You're good now.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry about that. I don't know what's going on. So just to quickly recap, if you didn't hear me, I said Chiefs by 1 million next game. That's what I said for the last one. No need for analysis. Yeah. No need for analysis. Now, I'm surprised to hear that y'all don't believe in Tommy Terrific. This is the postseason. This is what he does. This is what Tom Brady does.
I'm rolling with him, but I'm not super confident. I'm rolling with him though.
Listen, man, I've been saying this for a long time. I'm telling you, this secondary cannot cover a twin bed. They are bad. Yeah. This is nothing. I think Tom will play outstanding. This secondary, this is. We listen. Give me Tez Tarver. Let me get a look at Tez Tarver this week. That's how bad this secondary is. Man. Give me anybody. Somebody off the couch. I need a new look. Anyway.
So, I mean, I'm a proud, not proud currently, but I'm an Atlanta Falcons fan. So I hate the Saints with all my heart. I hate the Bucks with half my heart. And so it somebody pains me to say this, but I mean, I like the Bucks a lot. I'm very confident about the Bucks. I think they're with every game, to me, their offense is getting better. And I hear your concerns about the defense. I think they're well founded. I think the secondary is bad, but I think ultimately you're going to give Tom those weapons, and he's going to score a bunch because guess what? That Saints defense is not great. It's not. It's not great. And when push comes to shove, if you force Drew Brees to play catch up with just Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara, and then like the corpse of Emmanuel Sanders and Jared Cook, kind of like I don't think that they can play catch up enough. So I mean, I feel good about the Bucks. I've said for a while that I think the Bucks are going to the Super Bowl. I think I've said that. I don't know if I've said that anywhere here or whatever, but in the NFC, I figured that one of the olds, either Breeze, Brady, or Rodgers, is going to the Super Bowl, and I think it only makes sense that we get a Rodgers and Brady NFC Championship, and that's what I'm calling for. So I like the Bucks, and I don't believe in the Saints. I just don't believe in them. Like Alvin Kamara is great. Michael Thomas is very good, but I mean, Drew Brees is just back there, somehow cobbling it together every week, and I'm just not impressed. And I think when push comes to shove, like Tom Brady has impressed me this year, and they just have so many weapons. Like you got Mike, you got Mike Evans, you got Chris the God, you got AB, you got like you just have Gronk, you just have so many weapons. So I just give me the Bucks.
If I do think that is like the big if because AB seemed to break out a little bit last week. Like I need the old AB just one time to just fully emerge and just erupt. Like something like that needs to happen because Mike Evans he just doesn't do well in this. Like he just gets he fights and like this is just not. I already know what that matchup turns into with Mike Evans. He might have like a couple catches, but he doesn't do much against the Saints. So we need a big one from AB. I think this week also. We need a big game from him.
All right, moving on to some off the field stuff. We have Urban Meyer coming out of retirement to coach the Jacksonville Jaguars. A bit of a surprise to me because like I thought he was just like going to stay retired, but he decided to come out of retirement, coach his team. They have the grand prize of Trevor Lawrence in the draft, so he's going to have a clean slate, new quarterback, tons of cap space, some good players on the roster. A lot of work to be done. Of course, they're 1-15. But my concern is that Urban Meyer's style may not work with grown men. Like he's more of like a military drill sergeant. It seems like when he's talking to players, and it works in college because like if you believe in me, I'll get you to the NFL. I'll get you to the promised land. You'll get the money to take care of your family. But now he's going to be talking to players that make more money than him, and you can't just yell at these grown men at every practice or at every game without some backlash. So that's my concern. The team is going to be young, so that may help. But I think long term, I'm not sure how successful this will be. But they'll be better than 1-15. They have to be. But I'm not sure
It
if
better be.
I'm not sure like what this lead. I'm not even sure if that leads them to a playoff berth eventually. It might get them to like 6-10, 7-9. But I don't see them. I don't really see this as being like the turning point for a dynasty, like the Cowboys had when they went 1-15 and was able to get like Aikman and a coach or whatever. I don't see that happening here, but it's better than what they had, so I'll give them that. Before you guys go, real quick, I was able to get a quote from one of the few Jaguar fans that I know, Mr. Jermaine Dangler, and he said,
"Oh boy,
he."
Oh boy,
I have to clean it up a little bit. So he said, honestly, we've been playing like a college team for long enough, so why not be coached like one? That was number one. He says, I'm not thrilled about this shit at all. I'm not saying he ain't it, but I'm not thrilled at all. I would love to be wrong. So then I replied to him. I said the only way to go, the only place to go is up from here. You guys are 1-15. His reply, this was funny. His reply was, clearly you're underestimating our ability to go 0-16. Let's not, let's not forget that we picked up the only win we had picked up this season was an inexplicable win against a vastly superior Colts team in week 1, which was followed by losing every single game after that. So Jermaine, I'm not sure how much college football that Jermaine watches. Maybe watches a lot, maybe he doesn't. But he kind of has the same concerns. Like, okay, we got a college guy coming in with that military leadership style. It may not work. So Snell, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts on this hire, and do you think it's going to work?
So a couple things. I don't know if it's necessarily going to work. I think this does like a couple good things for the Jags. I'll put it this way. At least Urban Meyer, like he'll clean it up to where, all right, at least there's this thing is the culture is at least somewhat semi-normal as far as we have all professionals in the building. Like, I think he'll get it back, at least back to that. To even if we're like we're not good. Like not to pick on the Falcons, right? But the Falcons, they're not good.
Pick on us, we fucking suck.
No, they're not good. But if you were a coach and you come into that team, at least it's a normal building. Like listen, we have professionals in the building that know what they're doing. That like this is like something I can turn around. As opposed to if you go to the Jets, it's a complete mess. And you're like, yo, I think we need to get rid of half of these guys. Like, so I think he can at least get it to that where it's like, hey, even if we're not a playoff team or we're not doing that great, at least we have professionals in the building and somebody can step in and take over from here, and it won't be this massive overhaul that we have to do that Doug Marrone just had. Like, I don't think so. I think he gives you improvement just from a culture standpoint of getting professionals in there. And also, I know you say he has like a military style, but he's also a great recruiter. So he definitely has like a good personality. To be a good recruiter, you have to have somewhat of a decent personality to you to get these kids to come in. So a lot of the guys that have made it from Ohio State, from Florida, they made it to the NFL. So you may get a couple guys like I'll play for like this is the same thing. I know him. Like I've known him all my life. So I don't think it's that awful where it's like, as opposed to like, I think like a Chip Kelly. I think Chip Kelly was like a kind of a maniac, and I don't think it worked because it's like, hey, Oregon really only put out a couple receivers that are decent. You know what I mean? Marcus Mariota, like you didn't really have that much claim to fame to say if you're, so I think he has done enough in college to where he has the respect of enough NFL players that they'll come in and they'll listen to what he's saying. But I think they'll still be bad for these next season. Like I think next year is still a 4-12 season, and then it's 4-12. I think they'll go like 4-12 next year. Then maybe the following year he can get them to 7-9, 8-8, and then it'll kind of we'll have to just see where it goes from there as far as how much that oil sheik lets him open up that checkbook and do what he wants. So we'll see.
All right, Brisc, your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, what did good brother Chris Carter say? It's not about the X's and O's, it's about the Willies and the Joes. The problem with the Jaguars is that their roster is barren of talent. Like they have no players. So I mean, Bill Belichick in his prime couldn't turn this organization around in a speedy fashion. So I mean, Urban's ability to get players to come in, or to the owner, the GM, or whatever, his ability to draft well and acquire players through trade or free agency or whatever. I think is a much more important piece for the Jaguars turning their organization around than hiring Urban Meyer. But that aside, getting Urban Meyer, I do think is a big deal for the Jaguars because they kind of have just been floating around with coaches. Like they haven't had any type of stability when it comes to coaching as long as I can remember. And I think that one of the quickest ways for an organization to become irrelevant in any professional sports is to just have a revolving door at head coach. So getting some stability in there, getting somebody, like Snell said, who's going to change the culture, who's going to, run it like an NFL team and not just run it like a rudderless, like, just a bunch of guys, I think is good. But again, this team has no talent. I don't want to speak bad of DJ Chark, but I mean, when DJ Chark is the most talented player on your offense, like you have bigger problems than whoever your head coach is going to be. So yeah, I mean, God bless Jermaine. I know he's been.
Lost your audio.
Repping that.
I think you hit mute.
Yeah. All right, but moving on. I think the Jags, they're, I don't know. They'll be better, but as far as like competitive, not sure.
Yeah, and guys were trying to guys were leaving there like crazy. Like that one, what's the DN in Ngakwe? I think he was like trying to get traded on Twitter. So I like it was wild. I just don't think like the talent they did have was like they got rid of Fournette for nothing. Like everybody, the talent that they did have was just getting out of there for nothing.
Yeah, they had tremendous talent. They had Ramsey, they had Ngakwe, they had Fournette, they had Boye. Like they had players and they just got rid of them piece by piece by piece.
That's that Doug. That's that Doug Marone. Like that's that Doug Marone effect of like this ain't working.
All right, but moving on. Speaking of Doug's, Doug Peterson fired from the Eagles. Few years after winning the Super Bowl, and I kind of knew this was coming because everybody kept talking about trade Wentz, and in my mind, I was like, do you see the cap hit that this is going to cost the Eagles to do this? Whatever you may think about Wentz, you have to figure it out at least for another year or two because of the money that's tied to him and what it would do to your team if you got rid of him. So you owe it to the decision that you made to at least give him another coaching regime to see hey, is it really the player or is it really the coach? So I kind of figured, I was like, man, if Doug Peterson survives this and they get rid of Wentz, he's a great salesman because, like I said, Wentz, he had a really down year. I still think he can, be a decent starting quarterback, or he can go back to being good. It's not like the man just completely forgot how to play football. So I think getting rid of Doug Peterson was probably the only move because their relationship had soured. Now we'll see who they'll get. They put in a request to interview Kellen Moore today, which was really weird. We just signed him to an extension.
Fuck y'all is what they said. Fuck y'all extension.
I hope they find. I hope they hire Jeff Fisher. I think that'd be a great move for the Eagles. But yeah, I'm not sure. There's a lot of people say this is probably one of the worst jobs available because of cap and the personnel and media. It is a tough gig.
It's not great. It's not great.
It's a tough gig, so we'll see what happens. But Doug Peterson, he is looking like he might take a year off. But I was a little bit. I wasn't surprised. I was just surprised at the timing because if they were going to get rid of him, they should have gotten rid of him immediately after the football team game, but they held on to him for like a week and a half, and then they kind of had a delayed start on these interviews, so kind of set yourself back. But yeah, Doug Peterson fired. See you later. Hopefully they hire Jeff Fisher, but we'll see. Brisc, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts?
So sorry if I cut out there at the end. I don't know what the hell is going on with my headphones and whatever, um but yeah, man, Doug Peterson got himself fired. Good for him. I don't feel bad at all. The moment you insert Nate Sudfeld into a game for no reason, for no apparent reason, you are asking to get yourself fired. And just like I forget who it was. Again, I keep saying I don't watch this stuff, but then I keep quoting this stuff. But I did see a good comment on one of the ESPN or something where they were saying that like the only way that it makes sense for him to get fired is if he lost the locker room. And like it's
clear as day.
it's completely understandable for me to understand how you can lose a locker room when you got guys when first of all your team is young, right? So you got like all of the core pieces of your team that are coming back. Miles Sanders, Jalen Hurts, all the guys on defense. I mean, outside Dallas Goedert, like outside of like Deshaun Jackson, who obviously isn't coming back, Zach Ertz, who obviously isn't coming back. Like the core of your team, especially on offense, are all young players. So they're all trying to get reps. They're all trying to like they don't care that they care that they're eliminated from the playoffs, but they don't care about whatever strategy or whatever shit you're talking about. If like they're playing and Jalen Hurts is clearly the best option that you have at quarterback at the time, and all of a sudden for no apparent reason you hit the eject button and bring in nasty Nate Sudfeld, like like guys aren't going to trust you anymore. Like
Nah.
what do you expect is going to happen? So I don't feel bad for him at all. I would say Eagles fans deserve better, but they don't. Fuck them. And good riddance. He was fake sharp from the jump. He used up all his good plays on that Super Bowl run, and he talking about taking a year off like he's some hot commodity. Like who is looking for Doug Peterson to hire him as a coach now?
I saw the Jets, but
I think
exactly.
It looks like that's not going to happen. But I would love for him to go to the Jets. That would be great.
Yeah. So like, hey Doug, do me a favor. Take a couple years off. Don't rush back. Don't rush back. How about that?
Nah, I think he'll get another gig. I mean, he's a Super Bowl champion. Like Jeff Fisher lived off a Super Bowl loss for 20 seasons.
Oh, don't get me started on Jeff Fisher. We don't have enough time. We don't have enough time.
Doug Peterson will be a head coach again. When he's ready to fully get engaged in these interviews, he will get a head coaching gig. Absolutely. I just think I like this. Like I said, he got a delayed start, so it's kind of like he's late in the game. But take a year off, reflect, think about that Nate Sudfeld substitution, and maybe you can learn from it. Snow, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, man. I like you said, that substitution, that definitely is what got him fired. So the city of Philadelphia and their fans, they're a little crazy. And
yes, absolutely.
The one thing that you did have control of going into that Washington game was that, all right, we're not making the playoffs, but we at least have the opportunity to knock somebody else out of the playoffs. Like we at least have something that we're playing for. And Philly fans are rooting for you like, hey, we're not going to the playoffs, but this team we're facing in front of us, they're not going either. Like, that's what we'll hang our hats on that. So making that substitution, I just think that just goes against everything that city's about. And like you said, so I think that turns the fan bases against you. And then, like you said, you lose the locker room because the same thing. Those guys know that they're like the veteran players know like we're eliminated from the playoffs. The only like at least let us knock this team out of the playoffs. And like, hey, we didn't make the playoffs, but the last game we got to ruin this other team's season. Yeah. So you lost the locker room. I think you just lost the fan base. I understand for him, he's trying to look to next year and say, hey, let's get the better pick because obviously we need talent. So that's what, that's probably why he was trying to do it without without saying that. But
But if that's
yeah,
the case, then just start Nate Sudfeld. That's the
exactly.
thing.
The
Just
fashion
start
that
Nate Sudfeld.
that's what I'm saying. He probably should have like either you start Nate Sudfeld or openly before the game even starts. Hey, we're gonna go Hurts for a half, Nate Sudfeld for a half. Like that's the plan. Like, and we're sticking to it. Like, but
I actually
barring
heard
it,
that. I heard that though. I heard like a beat reporter say that like he was planning on possibly playing Nate Sudfeld in the second half. But I
yeah,
just thought it was. I just thought it
yeah. But
was
if you're
like.
gonna if you're
I,
gonna
I
do
thought it
it,
was bullshit. I'm like,
if
whatever.
you're
Like
gonna
he's not
like
playing Nate Sudfeld.
if he does it at the start at halftime, it's like okay, this is scripted, like this is planned.
Yeah.
Like okay,
Yeah.
let him get
Yeah.
this. Like you get a half. We didn't want Hurts getting hurt the last game of the season. Like we've seen enough.
Yeah.
We know he's talented. We're gonna let Nate Sudfeld play the second half and go from there. But to
Yeah.
do it in the fourth quarter after dumb like so on top of it, just how he did it was bad. Like, first off, if you want to get Nate Sudfeld a true shot, you know what? On this fourth down, let's kick this field goal, get it to a tied game. So then all Nate Sudfeld needs to do is drive down and get us in field goal position for him to get a win. Like, if you're really trying to help out Nate Sudfeld, at least do him that solid and kick this field goal right here. Instead, you go for it on fourth down, don't get it, and just cause like now Nate Sudfeld needs to go down to get a field goal or a touchdown. Like it's just to even like how he set that up was just stupid. So I think he lost the fans, then he lost the locker room, and then I think he went into that meeting, that end of the year meeting, was like, I brought you guys a Super Bowl. Like, why are y'all talking to me? So I think he just pulled like the trifecta of like listen, man, what y'all gonna do? Fire me? Like almost daring them to fire.
Yes, we will.
I think that was the attitude that move. I feel like that's the attitude that you have when you do something like that. Like you know what, man? It's the fourth quarter. Man, put Nate Sudfeld in. Like, ain't nobody gonna say nothing to me. Like, I feel like that's the attitude that he was carrying. It's just like, yo, I want a Super Bowl. I'm not getting fired. So I don't care. Put Nate Sudfeld in, and we're gonna get a better draft position. Like, so be it. And I'll be back next year. I think that's the attitude he had throughout it, thinking he wouldn't get fired, and then he got fired. So we'll see. We'll see how this pans out.
All right, moving on. Real quick, we had so we talked about Deshaun wanting out last week, and veteran player Andre Johnson, you know, the face of the Texans, pretty much, either him or J.J. Watt. He speaks. With Andre Johnson don't really speak. So
Nah.
when he made this statement about Deshaun should went out, like Houston doesn't treat the players right, blah blah blah, paraphrasing. That was interesting because I think as a Houston Texans like legend, you would want like somebody like Deshaun to stay. So if you're encouraging him to like look elsewhere, and then you have DeAndre Hopkins like retweeting it and says when Andre speaks, we listen. That's problematic. So I'm not sure like where Deshaun's head is at, but man, I like this. The NFL is not like the NBA. Like the NBA players have so much control. Like they can literally like, yo, I'm not coming back until I'm moved. Like, Anthony Davis with the trade to the Lakers, like he remained professional. He would play, and then like, you know what, I'm out for 2 weeks. And then James Harden, he like kind of like disrespected the game. Like he came in 15 pounds overweight. Wasn't really playing hard. Got himself traded. In the NFL, you kind of see it like Jalen Ramsey. He said he was hurt, so he sat out for a few weeks, and then he got moved. But you don't really see this like from a quarterback. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see because last year they just paid him. If they move him, you will not find another Deshaun Jackson maybe ever. So, I mean, Deshaun Watson, I'm sorry. So I'm not sure what the Texans are going to do. It's obvious. Without a quarterback in the NFL, you're dead. So the Texans, I'm not sure, like, You got to figure it out. In my opinion, you have to go to Deshaun as a man, sir. What would you like done for us to keep you here? Because we cannot afford to lose you and be in football Siberia for the next 10 years. What would you like done? And that's how you got to figure it out. Because if they trade him for Tua and a first and whatever, they will regret that for at least a decade. And you just got to figure it out. Brisc, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts?
So, I mean, like, yeah, Deshaun, man, he hates it there, and I don't blame him. I don't blame him. I mean, they took his number one receiver, one of the 5 best receivers, unarguably in the league, away from him, and they gave him Dusty David Johnson, and they also saddled him with the worst coach slash GM. I'm sorry. Yeah, well, the worst coach slash GM in the league in Bill O'Brien for all these years. And they kept giving Bill O'Brien like more
Power.
responsibilities.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, like, oh yeah, you're great. Here's the GM job. Oh yeah, you're great. Like, run the organization. Like,
Yeah.
So I don't blame him for wanting out. And this is another case. This is another case similar to like the James Harden situation, where like the player wants out because the team isn't good, but also because he hates the owner, and he hates the owner for political / Trump reasons. Like it's the same thing. He's like, yo, we suck. You haven't given me any help. You've impeded my career. And you might not like black people. So I'm out. So like I'm out. Like get me out of here. Like there's no I don't think like Deshaun seems like the type of guy where he's not like he would only like start these rumblings about wanting to be traded or whatever if he was at the absolute end of his rope. Like if he has exhausted all possibilities of staying and talked to his spiritual advisor and talked to his mom and like prayed on it and done all this stuff. He doesn't seem like the type to just blow up organization just for fun. Like, so I don't know, man. I think the Texans, I think the Texans messed up, and I don't know if he'll hold out. I don't know if it'll come to that. Honestly, I don't know if it'll come to that. I think he might just make it clear, like, yo, I don't want to play for y'all anymore. So like, just get me out of here. And they'll be able to get a lot for him. I mean, they'll be able to get a lot for him. He is elite. So
yeah, they'll get a lot, but when it comes to quarterbacks, a lot ain't enough. Like you need like I need a quarter. Like the jury's still out on Tua. He he had a very, very up and down at best rookie season.
Yep.
For him to manifest himself into a Deshaun Watson player, I don't see that. But he might be, a decent starter, but decent gets you beat in the NFL. So,
yeah. Oh no, I mean, if I wasn't clear, Houston is fucked. They're in bad shape. They're in bad shape. Like they're literally going to lose one of the 5 best quarterbacks in football.
In his absolute prime.
In his absolute at the peak of his power. Like they're in bad shape. They're in bad shape.
Outside of we talked about outside of this making they have one, like they got one shot, and that is just to pick the absolute just perfect fit for a coach. Like that's the only saving grace that they have to possibly save this situation of just picking just you know what I mean, like just getting like Eric Bieniemy, and Eric Bieniemy being even more than we thought he was. Like, yo, like Eric Bieniemy not only call offensive plays, but guess what? He can draw up a whole defense also, and he knows the books. Like Eric Bieniemy just being just like, you know what I mean? Like, so they need something like a miracle in that regard. Of like, yeah, like the Texans hired a coach, and this is just the perfect fit, and he has he has the secret of life, and no one else has it, and he's figured it out. and this team is just great now. So that's the only chance I think they have. But you'll never get the true value of what you should get when you trade obviously any star at their peak. So yeah, this is going to be this is going to be fun to see how they pull this off. They fucked themselves with that BOB GM situation. That was kind of, to me, that was the beginning of the end. That's the beginning of the end there when you did that, because then you trade Hopkins for whatever reason you want to say.
It was like a second and fifth. Which is just absolutely ridiculous. Like, who told you? Who told you to do that? Like, like I'm pretty sure Deshaun Watson woke up like,
he was
me, like,
he was shocked. I remember his tweet. He was shocked.
He probably looked at the screen like
he was just like, I think he tweeted like what? Like, what just happened?
Like, no, this is fake. This is fake.
Yeah,
nah, brother. Like, this is absolutely real. So, but
I think that's the case though, man. I think that Bill O'Brien situation, not getting the GM for like that long, I think that just put them in this horrible situation that they're in. You don't have a GM, then the GM is also the coach. So that you just fired two people at the same time. Now you got to find a GM. You got to find a coach, and like it's just too much. Then you also need to find a coach that can come in and clear out all these coaches that you just had, because they're all from that other guy that was also the GM and the head coach that was running things so poorly.
It's just a fucking mess. It's just a mess.
It's just too much, and it all starts from there. That's the root of the problem, was that Bill O'Brien. Like, that's the root of it, and they're gonna pay for that.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, if they want to get fancy, Jerry got Dak in the third for this Deshaun Watson, but we'll see what happens. Moving on. All right, that's it for football. In closing, we got some political stuff to get to a little bit. So we all saw what happened at Capitol Hill on the 6th of this month. Now the FBI has been saying that there have been information being leaked out that there have been planned attacks at all these state buildings across the United States, starting on the 17th, I believe. So we have that going. But my biggest thing, which I'm a little bit wary about, is the inauguration. I think this thing, I mean, I'm pretty sure there's going to be the highest level of security possible there. Yeah. But I still think it can lead into some type of chaos, because I feel like these rioters may show up. And if they do, it may become an ugly scene. So, yeah, I mean, Trump has said that, he's going to, peacefully transition the power over to Biden. We'll see. But exactly. Right. But my biggest concern about this inauguration, they're going to have airtight security, but might be bloodshed. Who knows? I'm really am a little bit concerned about what's going to take place, but I'll be watching. That's all I got. Snell, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts on these attacks in the inauguration?
Well, first I've been saying it. I said Trenton is safe. I tell you that much. ain't nobody going there. Like, we'll skip that one. Trenton's safe.
Yeah, Trenton is definitely safe.
No, man. The way these people are getting picked off, like, I think they got to find out like how smart the like our government is, of like we could just track your phone and know where you were at. Like, if
nothing,
you want,
it's nothing.
If you want to try an attack on these capitals, like, we'll use the same technology and just like what cell phones were in that area that day, and we'll go scoop these guys up. So I don't see that happening. And then at the inauguration, I don't think there's a big crowd for COVID reasons. Like, there's not going to be I don't think there's going to be like the huge, walkout big crowds that we're used to seeing at typical inauguration. So I don't think I think it'll be quiet. I think it'll be all the people that need to be there, a couple seats, transfer this thing over, let's all go home. Like I think it's going to be, it'll be a spectacle from a TV standpoint. Like they may shoot off fireworks, they may do all that stuff, but it'll be like zero. Like if you did not get a ticket, like you are not
Stay
showing
home.
up. Exactly.
Stay home.
Like if you didn't get a ticket, don't show up, and we send out the tickets. You can't buy one. Like so, that's going to be it. So I think it'll be rather quiet. That's my thoughts. I think how these people got picked up, like people getting arrested right off the planes, and all, like people like, nah, you know what? I didn't know that.
Maybe I should stay home. Yeah,
exactly. Because at first I was like, man, like all this happened, and these people just went to their hotels, like they show them like in hotel lobbies. I'm like, man, this is rather casual. And then it was just like, yeah, let me round y'all up real quick.
Yep. Got you in the airport, got you getting off the plane. Yep.
Yeah, like you know what I mean? Like the cops come at 5 a.m. Like, this isn't cool. Like I thought we would. So you just let me have like this one day, y'all got it. You get that one day, like check out the hotel, like check out. We just want to confirm it's you. So he was here. He checked out also. He checked in and checked out. Like good, like perfect. Thank you. We'll grab him off the plane. So yeah, man. I think it's gonna be quiet. I think it'll be relatively quiet. The 17th to 20th be nice quiet. Trump transfer this thing over. Pray to God he don't get further impeached or lose more than he already has, and try to save his face as much as he can. So that's the way I see it going.
All right, appreciate your thoughts.
I mean, I think mostly the same. I don't think these people is really about it like that. Like I don't think. I think they thought it was sweet, and and they were right. Like they caught the government slipping. But I think once they started seeing people getting put on that no-fly list, people getting pulled off airplanes, people getting arrested at the airport, people getting arrested at Starbucks. Like when they started getting swept up like it was a organized crime ring, like they got hit with the RICO. I don't think people are signing up for that.
No.
So they can talk big and bad on their little alternative social media platforms that are all getting shut down.
That Parler, whatever it's called.
Yeah, but I think when push comes to shove, there's gonna be some maniacs that show up at some state capitals. But I think it's gonna be like, I mean, I heard on CNBC they talking about someone said the quote that they were talking about 1 million militia march during the inauguration. First, I was offended because I was like, "Damn, like y'all can't even come up with your own name. Like you like you had to steal our sauce with the million march. Like you can come up with nothing better.
Like y'all still using Fab Five? Like y'all using Fab Five?
Exactly. Exactly.
Like you can get another name. Like
exactly. But I think overwhelmingly when push comes to shove. Honestly, I'll be honest. I think the people that showed up at the Capitol, I think a majority of them showed up expecting for it to be a protest. We're going to yell, we're going to scream, we're going to do whatever. But I think there were so many of them, and there were enough people who showed up there thinking that it was sweet and that they were just going to do what they were going to do, that once one person set it off, I mean, we've all been in like a nightclub or a bar or whatever, where like everything is cool, you know what I mean? Like it's all good. But then like one person set it off, and then everybody's like, "Oh shit, we set it off!" Like, all right, like, I don't think everybody like I don't think everybody showed up with the intention to do what ended up happening. And I think now that they've seen, I mean, they got like 20,000 troops in DC. Like people aren't going to show up trying to fucking bang it out with the U.S. Army on like American soil. Like, stop. Like, that's not happening. So, yeah.
But like I said, we'll see, and I'll be watching for sure.
Listen, man, I said it last time, man. I was like, of that, however many people were there, I was like, if you let a couple, only 1% of that crowd came prepared. Like, yo, I'm here not to go home. Like it's only 1%.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I agree with that. I totally
I'm here to die today.
I totally
exactly. Like, yo,
I
so
came
if they
here
would
ready
have
to
started,
die.
only 1% of that crowd came like that. So I was like, yo, if they would have started like just shooting in the air, man, them folks like,
Oh
hold on,
my God,
like, yeah, you know
it's
what,
scary
man,
like
let me,
cockroaches when the lights come on.
yeah. So and that's why I'm shocked they didn't do it, because I was just like, yo,
Yeah, they'd have been out
it's
of
only
there.
one. Yeah, only 1% of these people are really about this. So I don't know, man. Like I said, it's gonna be quiet. It's just how it goes. Like all of this, like, yeah, we found this out, find it out. This could happen. That could, like, yeah. So the 17th has come. It's a nice day, nice day here.
Just
nice
another
sunny day.
Nice sunny day, and
Yeah.
So
All right. So that was episode 115 in the books. You can find us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We might be joining TikTok one day. I'll let Tahime run that. We'll see how that goes.
Oh my God.
that's
It's gonna be
you
nothing.
can
It's gonna be nothing but weightlifting videos on there.
Yeah.
Social media manager, man. It's a social media manager, man.
Yeah. If you
man.
Yeah, you can find us on YouTube at Second and One Podcast. If you want to be on the show, you got a question you want us to answer, you want to send us some merchandise, you want to send us some money, send that over to info@secondandone.com. Yeah, man. Very, very crazy week. A lot of great NFL action coming up. The Harden trade kind of set things off. Very, very crazy week in the NBA. We didn't even really discuss how COVID is getting a lot of these games postponed. That's going to be something to watch over
Every
the
night.
coming week. Yeah, over the coming weeks. And by the time we record next week, Biden should be in office, so we'll see how that goes. And yeah, we'll have our AFC and NFC championship games all lined up, and yeah, we'll see. We'll have some more coaching hires. Maybe Tomlin gets fired, like Snell called. We'll see about that. But yeah,
I
man.
think it's a mutual. And I have one question I forgot to ask you guys. This is just be quick. Do you guys think this 17 playoff format is here to stay? Because I think this is here for our foreseeable future.
Yeah, I think so, because the wild card weekend with those 6 games, that was beautiful. Like, it doesn't really get much better than that. So I think it comes. I think there might be some pushback with the second team getting the bye. That's like the only concern that I have. But as far as the games itself, like, they were great games. So yeah, I think it's here to stay.
Yeah, it's definitely here to stay. I mean, the league, like these professional leagues, overwhelmingly, once they institute something, they don't usually roll it back unless it's just like a flaming disaster.
Yeah.
And this hasn't been so.
And I actually think we're getting a 17th game next year too. So that's just more football, and that's going to lead us into Super Bowl weekend being on like that President's Day weekend. So it's like a big holiday. But yeah, it's all good. All right. Any last remarks?
Nah, man. Thanks for having me. Sorry, I had some technical difficulties. My fucking light went out. My AirPods died 2 times. It's a mess over here. But
You had an earthquake out there, man. What's going on, man?
Nah, man. Nah, everything's good. It's just this is all user error over here. No natural disaster. All user error.
Yeah, man. But all right, if there's nothing else, this is the Second One Podcast. Thank you guys for listening. We go with you guys next time.